What's up again, everybody? Today I want to do a bit of a tournament report about a tournament that I played on Sunday over on the Uncharted Realms Discord. Link in the description if you want to check them out. They're running tournaments every Sunday. They're Play Anywhere events. They're doing some pretty good prizes. I was actually able to get my hands on a pretty cool prize in playing in this tournament. So I'm going to walk you through what I played and how it went, how the rounds went, and what I would change about what I played therein. Before we get too far into it though, I do want to give a huge shout out to Red Riot Games, to Deck Edge, to FabDB. I want to give a shout out to Jim over at Fab TCG Cards. All of those wonderful people, all of those wonderful stores, all support this channel. We all have affiliate links down in the description so that if you'd like to purchase stuff from them, I will receive a little bit of support back as well. It's not much, but even just a little bit, I mean, especially if you're just going to buy the cards anyway. If you're going to buy them, even just a little bit of support means a ton to me. It means the world to me. So if you'd like to support the channel by using the affiliate links down in the description, have at it. Go crazy. Buy all of the cards at all of the places, and I would love you for it. All right, let's talk about the deck. So I played Chane because I like the nature of drawing cards. I like the idea of managing a secondary resource or card pile in your Blood Debt. I love going wide. It's why I kind of got into the game with regards to like Ninja. I love the idea of like slamming down a bunch of attacks, and that's exactly what Chane does. Chane does that incredibly well, and in fact, in some people's opinion, does it too well. Nevertheless, I played Chane because I really like that play style. So I've got these separated into two different stacks. The two different stacks I have them separated in is cards that I enjoyed playing and cards that just didn't quite feel great. It's a weird thing to say, didn't quite feel great, because the deck itself works. Like, the deck is functional. This is a riff off the classic constructed deck that I have on my my deck archive. So if you're a patron and you have access to the deck archive, you can go check out the classic constructed Chane deck on there. This is a riff off of that one, where I basically took my classic constructed deck, pared it down, made a couple of just very tiny additions, changes, sleeved up a few extra cards, and threw this together. So this is the Chane deck that I played, and these are the cards that I kind of enjoyed playing, the cards that I liked. And I feel like there is something to be said about playing cards that you enjoy, cards that you like, and having a good time with the deck that you are playing. If you're not having a good time in the game, then I don't know, what's the point? I mean, there is a point, certainly. You should play the game for a lot of different reasons, but for me, I figure I'm going to play something that I want to get good at, or I want to play, I want to enjoy, I want to focus, that sort of thing. There we go. Haha. In the deck, we have Seeds of Agony. I play a full retinue of Seeds of Agony, as do most people, because that card is really good. If you don't know Seeds of Agony, based on the attack, the cost of the card that you're playing, the attack action card that you're playing, it will create a 1 arcane damage addition to that. So I play all 6 seeds, and then I play 2 red rift binds, and I play a yellow rift bind. And I'm at the point now that I'm just like, you know, I kind of also just want to jam all the yellows and all the blues as well. There's one in here, and I was like, I could just run the yellows and the blues, and I'd be happy, because I like playing rift bind. I like making giant rift binds and watching my opponent go, how did that get to 8? I think that's really fun. So I have 1 yellow rift bind. I think I'm going to add the blues in there and the other yellows. Bounding Demagon's also a fun card to play. The red one here, I only have the reds in this one. They attack for 4, and that feels really good. But I like 0 cost things that I can play from Banished. I think my fundamental play style that I've learned with Chane is that I enjoy playing things from Banished, and I hate banishing things that can't be played from Banished. And I think I'm going to change the way that I've built this deck to be something that I enjoy a little bit more, because I think it can still be successful while still playing very high-powered cards. So I have 2 Unhallowed Rites. I liked playing these. These felt really good to play from Banished, attacking for 4 as well. So I'm going to keep those in. Shadow of Ursa. You know, honestly, the best feeling I had was pitching this as a blue, which is weird. I do like the combo of like, oh man, I got a Riftbind stuck in my hand, so I'm going to play Shadow of Ursa, banish the Riftbind, and save the Riftbind for later and banished. That's pretty cool. You can always just pitch the Riftbinds as well, which is good. Soul Reaping's a fantastic card, so of course that's in the deck. I only have 1 copy of Ghostly Visit. I think I want 2. I think I want 2 Ghostly Visits. Plunder Run Red is so much fun to play. I saw people playing Plunder Run Blue, and then I saw it in the Devastation video. By the way, I'm going to put a link in the description to that one as well. You should definitely watch the Devastation Chane video. That was insane. Art of War is also insane, and I enjoy playing this card. It sucks when you banish it, but that's kind of the nature of the deck. And then Shadow Puppetry, I really enjoyed playing that card as well, so I have 2 of those in the deck as well. And then the final card that I really liked playing, this feels so good to just jam down a Gorganian Tome and draw a card off of this. It's a free draw card, go again. It feels really good. And if you did watch the Devastation video, the Chane deck included Tome of Torment, which was in my original, like when I first sat down and made Chane, I jammed 2 Tome of Torments in Blitz. And I kind of want to go back to playing around with jamming 2 Tomes of Torments, because there were times where I was like, you know, it's actually nice to just play Tome of Torment off of a Soul Shackle and then do stuff after that, because it was just fun to draw the extra cards. I love drawing cards, and after watching that video, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have just left that in the dust and keep playing around with it, see if I like it. Now, these cards, some of them I understand are in the deck for pitching, but I still don't like them. I do kind of like Vexing Malice. Vexing Malice, I did play this in the tournament to win one of the games because it just deals 2 arcane damage. So I would keep these in the deck. And same thing with Spellblade Assault. Even when you banish this, it's a little sad when you banish like a card like this. You can play this too, which is kind of interesting. I haven't seen people doing that. Spellblade Assault, play it, attacks for 2, creates 2 Runechant tokens on the back end to make a Soul Shackle before it gets go again. It's a solid little card. I would keep this in the deck as well. There are a few that I may not keep in the deck, like Mutated Mass. It pitches blue, but I don't like that I can't defend easily from hand with this card. That makes me really upset. It makes me feel like I'm playing Brute. Shadow Brute, right? That has all the non-defensive cards. And so even though, yes, you can easily make this go to 4 or 6 or, you know, crazy stuff like that, plus you know, using Razor Reflex, like pitch Razor Reflex, play it on top of this, as well as the extra pitch that you've given your pitch zone, I still don't really love it. So this would be a card I would probably consider getting rid of, though I do say, you know, you can actually play it from Banish, so maybe it sticks around. Consuming Volition, this one I teetered on. There's 1 copy of Consuming Volition in this deck. I like the hit trigger. I like that the hit trigger threatens my opponent and makes them do something. So for me, this one is like more interesting than not. Meet and greets, I feel like I've literally never gotten to play a meet and greet with Go Again off of its own ability. Like literally never, which is weird because like I've played enough Chane, Blitz and Classic Constructed. I still feel like I've never played a meet and greet red with Go Again. Howl from Beyond, this one I teeter between as well. This could go into the I like this card pile or the I don't. I have 1 copy in here. I like the buff that it provides, but I don't like that it costs 2. Mauvrian Skies, I appreciate what the card does. I appreciate that it gives Go Again when I need it. Command and Conquer, I'm really starting to come off Command and Conquer in this deck. I like that you can end with it, but I don't know, I'm really coming off of it. And then Light and Strike, I'd probably keep it in the deck. But it's kind of teetering as well. I'd prefer a couple of things that I can play out of Banished, a couple more things I can play out of Banished, because for me that's what I most enjoy with Chane, is playing stuff out of my Banished and like stacking up big turns like that. So for me, these couple of cards here are cards that I'm probably gonna look to immediately switch out and just try stuff with it, and then the rest of this stack is like on the maybe I change that list, but that's essentially the list. There's a lot of Chane lists floating around out there, so I figured I'd give you my list first and then talk to you about how the tournament went. So like I said, it was run on Sunday at 1 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. Eastern, on the Uncharted Realms Discord. There were, I think, like 10 or 11 people there, which was nice. I like that kind of mid-range size tournament where it's not too big, not too small. The hero pool was like a ton of Boltyn and really it was a couple of Boltyn and then a ton of Kano, and I did not expect that. I expected more Chane than anything else. There were a ton of Kano players there. The first match that I played was against Ira in round 1, and we played that one very closely. In fact, my opening hand was pretty solid. Before I drew, I elected to go second. And the Ira player had an absolute bomb turn hit the entire leg tap line almost. It was insane. And took my Husk on the first turn, or the first turn of the game, yeah. And it was like, oh, well, this could be problematic. But then I immediately turned back that tide by playing like Art of War into Riftbind into Giant Riftbind stuff like that, and took health back. And that game went to like 1 health to 1 health, and I ended up squeezing out the win at the very last like point of damage because my Husk was sitting there in Banished, which was a pretty cool game. It was pretty cool back and forth. I then played, I think I played 2 Kanos in a row at that point. Yeah, second round I played Kano. The first turn of the game, the Kano player had Stir into pitching a blue into the Crucible, into Forked Lightning pitching a blue. Like they had the God hand, and I had all reds in my hand, so I pitched my entire hand away and redrew, of course, at the end, but only blocked 4 and took 8. It was bonkers. I immediately began the game with less starting health than Kano, which is like, who does that? Nobody does that. So it absolutely hit the nuts. I was able to get it close, but I think I played too timidly, expecting more arcane damage right off the top right after that, and I probably could have gone a little bit more wide and threatened a few more times. Just their general like game plan, because if you don't put enough threats out there, then they can kind of sit back and draw into their combo pieces. I think I played a little too timidly and didn't attack probably enough or provide enough damage, and he was able to squeak out the win there towards the end. Actually, it was a little bit more comfortable. I think he ended at like 9 health because of a couple of like one big Tome of Fandal from Arsenal play. Went from like he had 4 health to flipping that over on his turn, gaining 5 health. It was like, oh, that's disgusting. Back up to 9, and I died after that. I was like at 4. So you can kill pretty easily from 4 when you're the Kano player. The game after that, I also played a Kano player, and that one was a little closer. That one was one of those scenarios where we were also sort of down to the wire. We were both at 4 health. I was presenting lethal on my turn, in fact, and I had. I think I had a blue and a couple of other things to pitch, but of course I only had 4 Null Rune, and so I presented lethal to my opponent, and so in other words he had to basically just go for lethal himself off the top, and unfortunately off the top he immediately pitched a blue, drew into a Forked Lightning, and killed me. So it was like, man, it was so frustrating, but that's okay because sometimes that just happens. So I was 1-2 after 3 rounds. There were 2 more rounds. I played against another Ira player, and that one was fairly close as well. It was the Ira matchups were really, really fun because both players want to go wide, and so it's either going to be a race or it's going to be like who's going to be the first to really block. It was very interesting. And just because I was able to present so many Nebula Blade attacks at 4, I was able to just kind of constantly pull cards from the hand, and that matchup felt a little bit more comfortable because I was able to just constantly chip at him for 4 if it hits Create a Rune Chant over and over and over again. So that's a big benefit, having the Nebula Blade coming in for 4 because of all the non-attack action cards in the deck. And then I ended the day. Leading into this matchup, I was 2-2, and I ended up against a Charge Bolton. If you've ever played against Charge Bolton, you know Charge Bolton is hardly ever going to block, and they shouldn't probably ever block in Blitz because they should just look for the nuts, the uber nuts, the charge big ol' attacks, and they should blast you in the face with those. And that's basically what it became, is he blasted me in the face for like, I don't know, 17, and some of that was soaked by the Husk and a couple of other cards from hand. But like his second turn of the game was like yellow Take Flight. It has go again because he charged, and then he went Valiant Thrust for 7, and then on top of that he played Beacon of Victory, and he went and found Valiant Thrust for another 7. It was like, dude, that's 17 damage. It's a good thing I had Husk, and even with a Husk I took a boatload of damage on that turn, but then I gave it right back and played some crazy combos of my own. That was the one game where I actually did for the first time play the Command and Conquer the Command and Conquer combo alongside of Shadow Puppetry, where you play Shadow Puppetry first and then you play Command and Conquer. So it gives Shadow Puppetry gives +1 and go again to Command and Conquer, which is pretty nasty. That's the only time where I've really been like, okay, I understand why the combo exists, and perhaps because of the fact that the combo is there, you should keep both cards. But it still is kind of weird. I don't know. It's just like Command and Conquer feels really good on paper, and then the more I played with it, the more I'm like, maybe I just want something that attacks for like 4 instead of 6 and threatens that big thing. Maybe it's better in Blitz too because lower health total. But nevertheless, played that game to the conclusion and was able to pull out a win there at the end. So I ended the day with this Chane deck, 3-2, losing to 2 Kano players and picking up wins against a Bolton and 2 Iras. It was a really fun tournament, and the nice thing about it too was that because of the way that they're structuring their tournament, they basically rolled off for random prizes. So you could have gone in there and played literally anything. If you wanted to put together a Shiana deck and just play a Shiana deck, you could have done that. It would have been totally fine because they're just rolling off prizes at random from what they've gotten. And it was really nice. So I ended up getting a pretty cool playmat that you'll see on the video. I don't know, hopefully soon. Whenever it actually arrives and ships, I will be using that playmat for a lot of videos going forward because it is one of my favorites out there. So I'm pretty excited for that. Keep your eyes peeled. Maybe you can guess which one it is in the comments below. Let me know what you think, which playmat you think I got my hands on in a comment below. But it was a really fun tournament. I was very thankful that I got to sit down and play in that tournament. I plan to do it more again next time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of decks get brought next Sunday. I hope I can play in next Sundays as well. If you think I should stream that or record that, let me know in a comment below if you'd like to watch that. And if you have recommendations for what deck, I think they're always going to be Blitz, or at least for right now, perhaps they're going to be Blitz. If you have an idea or recommendation for what deck I should play, let me know what Blitz deck you think I should put into that tournament next week in a comment below. If you enjoyed this little breakdown, this little tournament report, leave me a like and a subscribe. Hey, look, your name in lights has been adjusted, and also, look, we crossed 4,500 subscribers. That's pretty exciting. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.